Destination D23 is taking place this weekend at Disney's Contemporary Resort, and this morning, Parks Experiences and Products Chairman Josh D'Amaro took fans through an hour-long presentation giving a look into the future of the Walt Disney Company from a parks and experiences standpoint. We got news about the domestic parks, the international parks, Disney Cruise Line, and more. But when are some of these things coming, and are they even actually going to come to fruition? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. We are going to give you a recap of all of the Disney Parks news that was dropped this morning and share our thoughts on some of the things that may or may not be coming to Disney World in the future. Before we get into the actual announcements, Disney did announce the dates for D23 2024. The event will take place on August 9th, 10th, and 11th in Anaheim, California as usual. And Disney is saying, quote, "It is no longer just an expo, but a Disney fan event like no other." Something that Josh D'Amaro touched on very early on in his presentation was the addition of more lands, more rides, and more shows coming to the Disney parks over the next decade. Now, he didn't specify any timelines really for anything except for one or two announcements that he made, but the general theme of the presentation was over the next 10 years, we're going to be investing a lot of money and efforts into creating new shows, new attractions in the Disney parks around the world. It's a little bit vague, and 10 years is a very long time to plan out, but the idea was to try to get Disney fans to hang on for a little bit, stay with the company, ride this wave through with them, because in the next decade, within the next decade, there's going to be a lot of cool things to come. A lot of that is very, very much open-ended, and as we know from previous D23 panels in the past, a lot of projects that they do announce end up getting modified or scrapped altogether. Just think of the Mary Poppins attraction, along with others that were supposed to come to Epcot. So take everything that you hear in this video and that you heard from Josh with a grain of salt, because it may sound good today, but there's no guarantee we're gonna get it in the future. The first actual announcement that D'Amaro made came early on in the presentation, where he mentioned that Ahsoka Tano will be added to Star Tours both in Walt Disney World and Disneyland in spring 2024. But I'm excited to see Ahsoka join the fleet of Star Wars stories coming in spring 2024. Also announced by D'Amaro was that Asha, who is from Disney's new film Wish, will be arriving to Epcot, Disneyland, and Disneyland Paris for meet and greets. We also got a first look at the Lewis animatronic in Tiana's Bayou Adventure, as D'Amaro was talking about the new attraction coming to Magic Kingdom opening next year. In the background, they played some clips, and you can see Lewis being worked on behind the scenes. And now there is supposed to be a large number of audio animatronics that are featured in Tiana's Bayou Adventure, pretty similar to how Splash Mountain was. Splash Mountain had a lot of audio animatronics in it as well, but we got our first look at Lewis. Now, something that fans have been waiting for ever since they announced it is, when is the Hatbox Ghost going to end up in the Magic Kingdom? The Haunted Mansion went down a few weeks ago for a refurbishment, and a lot of people thought that is when the Hatbox Ghost was going to be added in, especially because the movie was just coming out and we were approaching the Halloween season. However, D'Amaro did confirm that the Hatbox Ghost will materialize in late November at the Magic Kingdom. Now, while I'm excited that the Hatbox Ghost is coming, Disney definitely missed the mark in terms of the Halloween season. Like Haunted Mansion, the not-so-scary Halloween parties are taking place in September and October. It would have been a perfect time to introduce the Hatbox Ghost, tie it in with the movie that came out in August, but months are going by and the Hatbox Ghost isn't coming until late November, which is going to be well into the Christmas season at Walt Disney World, because Christmas starts in like the first week of November. But nonetheless, I'm excited for the Hatbox Ghost to come. I'm interested to see how he fits in the storyline here at Walt Disney World. Now, if you remember a couple of years ago when Avengers Campus first opened, there were supposed to be two attractions that opened with the land. We were supposed to have an Avengers e-ticket attraction as well as the Spider-Man Web Slingers attraction. Of course, Spider-Man Web Slingers did open, and we really haven't heard much in regards to the Avengers e-ticket attraction that was supposed to come as well. Until today, D'Amaro did share a first look at a world-jumping vehicle for a future Avengers Campus attraction. The new vehicle will help transport superheroes into the multiverse, and more details will be shared at a later date. They also shared a first look at World of Frozen, which is coming to Hong Kong Disneyland. Viewers of the panel got some never-before-seen photos of the land at night, which feature Arendelle's castle, some waterfalls, and Elsa's Ice Palace. And a couple of days ago on Good Morning America, Disney announced that the new Frozen theme land will officially open on November 20th, 2023. Next up was the announcement that is going to be the most controversial and the most debated coming out of this panel, and that is a change to the Country Bear Jamboree. The brand new show, which will be called the Country Bear Musical Jamboree, will debut in 2024. It will be inspired by the musical style of Nashville, which is country music, and will feature the Bears reimagining classic Disney songs in various forms of country music. Now, the actual bears themselves will still be in the show. They're just changing the show itself. So the animatronics that you all know and love are still going to be inside of the Country Bears, but they're going to be singing different songs. And personally, I am not a fan of that at all. I don't need the Country Bears singing Disney songs in a country music style. I feel like that takes away from the originality of the Country Bear Jamboree. There are other places in the park where you can hear classic Disney songs, whether it's in the nighttime shows, whether it's in the parades, whether it's in other attractions themed to that particular show. I just wish they kept the Country Bears as is and let them do their own thing. That's an old attraction. It's an absolute classic attraction. And while the actual bears are still gonna be there, some of the songs that are featured are what brings the fans back every single time. So to have the Country Bears just singing the bare necessities and other classic Disney tunes doesn't really do anything for me. Maybe it does for you, but personally, this is one that I am on the side of. I wish they didn't change it, but again, this is gonna be something that you're either gonna be like A-okay with and you won't really care too much, or if you're a Country Bear fan like I am, this is something that's probably gonna bother you. And sticking with news coming out of Magic Kingdom, there's gonna be a Pirates of the Caribbean themed tavern coming to Adventureland in the Magic Kingdom, and it's gonna feature the return of Peg Leg Pete, also known as the Barker Bird, that was once outside of the attraction. Next up is the Journey of Water, the attraction that has taken Disney 5 years to build, and it's not even an actual ride, finally has an opening date. It will be opening at Epcot on October 16th. Now, cast previews have been taking place for a little while, but annual pass holder previews are coming up. Those start on September 24th. You do not need any sort of reservation in order to go. You will need a reservation to Epcot in order to get in, but you don't need to register for the actual preview, similar to how we had to do it for Guardians or Tron or anything like that. It's as long as you have a reservation to Epcot that day, you can go check out Journey of Water before it opens to the public on October 16th. And speaking of Epcot, World Celebration finally has an opening time period as well. They confirmed at Destination D23 that it will open this December. Now, we all know Harmonious went away with the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. We have Epcot Forever right now as kind of like the interim show over at Epcot, but there's a new nighttime show coming. Luminous, the Symphony of Us, will debut at Epcot on December 5th. Walt Disney World President Jeff Valley announced that the show will feature fireworks, fountains, lasers, lighting effects, and music, and will be the permanent replacement for Harmonious. And the last bit of news that is tied to Epcot is a re-theme for Test Track that's going to be coming. Test Track is going to be inspired by the World of Motion as part of its reimagining, and Disney is once again teaming up with Chevrolet to reimagine this attraction. All right, it's time to move on to Disney Cruise Line news, and we got two pieces of pretty cool information that came out of this panel. The first one being that the 7th ship in the Disney Cruise Line fleet will be named the Disney Adventure. If you remember, this is the ship that Disney purchased a couple of years ago that was already half built. It was originally known as the Global Dream, and it is going to be sailing out of Singapore. So it's not gonna be a US domestic ship. It's not gonna be at Port Canaveral or Miami or anything like that. It's gonna be overseas, doing what I would imagine to be a lot of Asian type itineraries. And speaking of new things coming to Disney Cruise Line, Disney's new island destination has an official name. It's gonna be called Disney Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point. Now, Disney has been developing this private island at Lighthouse Point for the last couple of years. Those itineraries are open. They're gonna be sailing next summer from, I believe, Fort Lauderdale or Miami initially. Next up, we're gonna head over to Animal Kingdom to talk about two possibilities as far as replacements to the Dinoland area. This is a subject that is very close to my heart. If you don't know, I used to work at Dinosaur back in the day on my college program, and the time has finally come where Disney is thinking about reimagining that area. Walt Disney Imagineering announced that they are planning to reimagine Dinoland USA into a new land inspired by a region sometimes referred to as the Tropical Americas. Now, as part of this, new experiences inspired by Encanto and fan favorite Indiana Jones are being considered for the reimagined land at Disney's Animal Kingdom. They did share a little bit of concept art where you can see the casita from Encanto. You can see a temple, which is obviously tied to Indiana Jones as well. You can see what looks to be like some sort of a carousel of sorts. And the rest of it is just like kind of rooftops, a little bit hard to see what exactly it's gonna be. But this is something that is kind of head scratching. Now again, this is not confirmed. Disney just said that these two properties are being considered for the new land. So it does not mean that Encanto and Indiana Jones are definitely coming, although they're probably starting to, plan for that to be the replacement. But again, nothing is concrete. This is part of the Blue Sky projects, similar to what they talked about for Beyond Big Thunder at the last D23 Expo. But still, I don't think Encanto or Indiana Jones makes any sense for Disney's Animal Kingdom. There's no animals featured in those movies as far as like the main driving focal point of the story. Of course, you have the one little kid in Encanto who can speak to animals, but that was pretty much it. Also, Encanto was announced for the Beyond Big Thunder project, and they were supposed to have the casita over there, and that was supposed to be the Encanto land. So my question is that scrapped completely, or are we gonna have Encanto in two different parks? TBD on that. I'm not fully against using IP if it makes sense. The IP that they're looking to replace Dinoland with, to me, makes no sense at all. It was heavily rumored for a long time that Zootopia would be what would replace Dinoland, and that is apparently not going to be the case. Zootopia, they did announce, will have a new show that is replacing It's Tough to Be a Bug at Disney's Animal Kingdom, but it will not be getting its own land, at least anytime soon. Now, Zootopia isn't necessarily about like conservation or anything like that, but the movie features animals, so that's a step one in my mind as far as making a little bit more sense with the fit and the theming of Animal Kingdom, whereas Indiana Jones and Encanto really have nothing to do with animals. They really have nothing to do with conservation, which was the original main theme of Disney's Animal Kingdom. So again, it might be a little bit of a hot take, but I don't think those two properties make any sense over in Animal Kingdom. You wanna put Indiana Jones somewhere, you could put it at Hollywood Studios. You can extend the show, get rid of the show, put an attraction there, whatever you wanna do. Encanto makes total sense for Magic Kingdom. You can build a whole Encanto land back there. There's the new Mirabelle meet and greet that's coming. So to me, to have it in Animal Kingdom really just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But again, this is something that they're just considering right now, and it's all hearsay. We don't necessarily know if it's ever gonna actually come to be, which is the theme of a lot of the announcements that Disney made today. So time will tell whether one or both or neither will come to Animal Kingdom, but as far as my opinion, I don't think either property fits the theme of Animal Kingdom at all. And speaking of the expansion over at Magic Kingdom, the head of Walt Disney Imagineering, Bruce Vaughn, their chief creative officer, appeared to talk about some of the updates to the Blue Sky project that they mentioned at the last D23 Expo. Now, they didn't get into any sort of details at all. They didn't mention any properties that are gonna be coming. They didn't mention timelines, anything like that. All that they said was that the expansion is gonna be the largest ever for Magic Kingdom, and it's gonna be similar to the expansion of Pandora at Animal Kingdom, as well as Star Wars Galaxy's Edge over at Hollywood Studios. Again, this falls in the bucket of will it come or will it not come? We don't know. And if it does come, we have no idea when. So that was like the general theme of a lot of the announcements that Disney was putting out today, was like, this may come, we're thinking about doing this, but we don't know exactly when yet, and we can't give you any actual like concrete information, which is the way that the last D23 panel ended when it was over at D23 Expo in Anaheim this past year. A lot of people felt the same way, whereas like they just ended it with like a lot of fluff and a lot of like non-concrete info that you could hold on to. A lot of the updates that they gave were similar in that sense. There were a couple of more announcements that they did make, including this guy right over here, Figment. Josh D'Amaro welcomed a special guest on the stage, and that was Figment, and they announced that meet and greets will be starting on Sunday, September 10th, and getting the chance to take some photos with them now is going to be really, really cool. So I'm excited to go check that meet and greet out in the future. Speaking of meet and greets, they also announced that Moana will have a meet and greet coming to Epcot near the Journey of Water attraction. So there you have it. That is everything that you need to know coming out of this morning's D23 panel as it relates to the parks, experiences, and products segment of the company. A lot of things that sound promising, but again, we don't know if any of it's actually going to come to fruition. And I was expecting a little bit more out of this panel, especially since we have to wait another year for any major Disney parks announcements. We have to wait to the D23 Expo in 2024. And I thought this was gonna be the opportunity that Disney would take to make a really big splash announcement, something that was actually coming and something that was not just a concept or part of their blue sky project, something that we can hold on to and really, really look forward to, especially with Epic Universe opening summer 2025. And by the looks of it, it might even open sooner than what they are originally saying. So that was just my original takeaway. Again, we had some cool announcements in there. We got the Figment meet and greet coming. We have some changes to certain areas of the parks that are coming, whether you like it or not. But I was really waiting for that really big announcement. They were trying to tee up the Indiana Jones and Encanto Animal Kingdom thing as the big takeaway from this panel, but it's also just in consideration. So none of it's actually being worked on today. And that's kind of what I was hoping for. I was waiting to see what can they say is definitely coming soon that we could all look forward to. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about the announcements that came out earlier today. Are you excited about some of these things? Are you kind of like me where you're waiting for something actually tangible to grab onto? Or are you just excited nonetheless? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a nice big thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel down below so you don't miss out on all of our future Disney videos to come. And with that being said, we'll see you guys real soon.